Hello, hi everyone. I am Sanjay Gupta. I welcome you on Sanjay Gupta Tech School. So, as you can see, today we are going to have day 48 of this Salesforce Learning Bootcamp. And in this session, I will be discussing about Apex Trigger. So, this is week number 13, and this week we'll be having three sessions on Apex and Apex Trigger. So this week, this topic will be completed, and in today's session, I will be covering how we can prevent recursion in Trigger, how we can use Trigger.isExecuting context variable, how you can use database class and addError method. Right? So these are the topics which I am going to cover. Okay, so hi and welcome everyone. And this is about me. So if you have joined the session for the first time, so through this slide you can know about me. So Madan is asking to create a Telegram group. So Madan, for your information, that group is already there. So I can just share the link of the Telegram group with you so that you can join and become part of that group. Okay, so hi, hello, namaste, and I'm on this slide which says 7 virtual learning best practices. So I hope everybody is following these best practices, and I can see like in Telegram group, people are discussing doubts with each other. Those who have question, they post their queries, and those who are knowing the solution for those queries, they are answering. So I think the purpose of creating that platform is fulfilled now. You have a good platform where you can discuss your doubts, and I am doing live sessions, so I'm trying to explain each and every concept in detail, and I hope you are following the exercise as well. Right, so keep following all these best practices if you want to become expert in Salesforce. So if I go further, so this slide, my favorite slide, it says consistency is the key. So in my life, I always follow things consistently. So you can see how consistently I'm doing this bootcamp. So I just completed 3 months last week, and fourth month is started, and this is week 13. So you also like have consistency in your life and do regular practice so that you can also become successful. And in today's session, I will be explaining the topic and doing demo, and then we'll take your question and answers. So in this session, like I will be demoing a few examples. So I will try to have some questions after the demonstration in between. And this is the Telegram group where lots of people are connected and they are discussing about their doubts. So if you have not connected, then you can just join, and you can see the new development bootcamp timeline. So this is for next 6 weeks, right? So 12 weeks we have already completed. In the first 6 weeks, I completed all the admin related stuff. Then in next 6 weeks, I completed Flow, Apex, and Trigger. And in these 6 weeks, you can see I will be completing Apex Trigger, Apex Test Class, Asynchronous Apex, Visual Force, and 2 weeks are dedicated for integration. So if I take you to the session tracker, so here in the session tracker, you can see all the admin, Flow, and Apex related stuff is completed. And those who are following the recording, so you can see all the recording links are available here in column F, right? So one by one you can follow. And we are about to complete this part, Apex Trigger. Then I will pick Apex Test Class, then Asynchronous Apex. And here you can see I have added blank rows for Visual Force page and integration. So soon I will be filling all the topics here which I am going to explain you. So for Visual Force, I will be doing 2-3 sessions so that all the basic things I will be able to explain. And integration, I will be having total 6 sessions. So I'm in discussion with one consultant if he will be available. So he'll be delivering all the sessions. Otherwise, I will be delivering those sessions for you, right? And after that, like these, I will redefine. So first, I will shift this HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and then we'll see Aura and then LWC, right? So I think next 3 months will also be required to complete this bootcamp. So 3 months we did all admin flow and Apex related stuff. Next 3 months we'll be doing Apex classes, Apex test classes, asynchronous Apex, Visual Force integration, Aura, and LWC. Right? So this is about the next 6 weeks timeline, and those who are cybersecurity enthusiasts, so here you can see I added one more tab. So if you want to join cybersecurity bootcamp, so there will be one session, day 0, where we'll be discussing about all the things related to cybersecurity. And if you don't want to become part of this, but you want your friend or junior, senior, those who have passion about cybersecurity, if they want to join this bootcamp, so you can share the same session tracker. So you can see in the same session tracker, Salesforce admin and development stuff is available and cybersecurity is available, right? So people asking me like, is cybersecurity related to Salesforce? So yes, it is related to Salesforce as well. In Salesforce, there is a job role which is related to cybersecurity. So quickly, I'm opening it and I'm going to show you. So if we go to career path on Trailhead, so here you will find this cybersecurity careers. If you open it, so here you will find lots of trailheads related to cybersecurity, right? So we try to pick few topics from these trailheads, those are related. So you can just go through and don't think cybersecurity is separate. It is also part of Salesforce ecosystem, right? So in Salesforce ecosystem, there are lots of companies who hires engineers for cybersecurity purpose. And other than Salesforce, also you can you can have a job or you can become freelancer if you know about cybersecurity, right? So these are the topics we are going to cover, and in between the bootcamp, if there is need for some few more topics, so we'll be upgrading this session tracker for you. Okay, so this is like a little bit updates about the week. So last week I worked with my friend who will be taking all the sessions related to cybersecurity, and due to our collective effort, this session tracker is in front of you. Okay, and Sider Reddy is asking, what about development projects? Yeah, so after these 6 weeks, maybe like before starting Aura and LWC, we'll do a development project as well. So the recruitment app, I will be having few features related to Apex, Trigger, test classes, asynchronous Apex. So together we'll be doing those as part of development project, right? So I will be adding that as well. So let me take a note. So here I will be adding a development project. Okay, so I just added a check mark here so that I remember, like I just need to do a development project for you, right? So it will also be done after the integration sessions, right? So if you have not followed this platform, which is doing everything free for the community, and throughout this year, everything will be available free on this channel, and that too live. And I'm going to create some recorded sessions as well. Those I was not able to complete. So I just want some spare time. So I'm just searching about that. So soon I will be uploading some recorded videos as well. So if you have not followed, so just follow Sanjay Gupta Tech School on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Telegram, so that you can receive all the notifications and you don't miss any of the session. And all the important links are available in each live video's description. Okay, so just share this channel with everybody in the community for the betterment of the society. Like, I'm dedicated, so you also share the information so that everybody can get benefit and they can save their hard-earned money. Okay, so now moving on to the topic that we need to discuss in this session. So we need to discuss like how recursion is available in Trigger and how we can prevent it. So before starting implementation of the code, let me discuss about the recursion. So basically, recursion is a process where a method is called again and again. I am just repeating. Recursion is a process where a method is called again and again. So here what will happen, sometimes there are scenarios where a process is called again and again and it doesn't break. So that infinite calling process is known as recursion, right? So what you need to do, if there is a recursive process available in Apex Trigger, so you can prevent it. So there are certain measures. If you apply those measures, so your recursion will be prevented and your smooth execution will happen. So here I have two scenarios that I will be implementing so that you can understand how this recursion works in case of Apex Trigger, right? So I will be implementing this. Okay, so our first example is when any account is updated, then update account's description through Trigger to demo recursion, right? So first I will be implementing a code through that recursion will be happening, right? So through that code you will see a recursion problem, and then I will show you how we can resolve that recursion problem, right? So right now I'm focusing on the first scenario. So I will be implementing a trigger on account update and I will be updating accounts description, and you will see like there will be a recursion problem. So jumping here, and I'm already logged in into org, right? So I'm on account trigger where I will be implementing the code, and in the account trigger handler I will be defining the method, right? So what I'm going to do here in after update, I'm going to call a method. So method name will be update account, and I will be passing two parameters, trigger.new and trigger.old map, right? So in last week we already discussed about these two context variables. So trigger.new will be storing the new copy of that record which you updated, and trigger.old map will be storing the copy of the same record but with old values, right? So now here in trigger handler I'm going to implement this method. So I need to write public static void update account, and here I need to receive that trigger.new and trigger.old map. So I am just creating two parameters here. So trigger.new will be stored in this ACC list and trigger.old map will be stored in this ACC.old map, right? Now here I am going to create one list of account, naming it as account to be updated, right? So now here I'm going to implement a loop account ACC colon ACC list. So all the updated values, all the updated records are available in this ACC list. So I'm iterating on this. Now here what I'm going to do, I'm going to create one instance of account. Then in this a.id I am assigning acc.id, right? So the record on which we are iterating, that record's ID we are assigning into this A. So this A is an instance which we are creating, and we are assigning account ID into this A variable, and this A description I'm going to update. So here I am updating it with a value test recursion. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to add this A instance into this list, right? So what I did, I just added the newly created instance account A that we created at line number 9. So that I added here in this list, right? Now what I need to do after completion of this loop, I just need to apply null check. So here I'm going to copy this list and applying is empty so that I can check whether it is empty or not. And then I am writing update ACC to be updated, right? So this is the list. Okay, so this is a method, and in this method, like this method will be called whenever you will be updating any account record from the UI. And what is happening in this method, you are again updating the same record, right? So what will happen? You will update your account record from the UI. Then this trigger will be initiating and this method will execute. This method is again updating the same record. So what will happen? This trigger will reinitiate. So this will happen again and again, right? So the same method will be called again and again, because here on update, we are again writing update DML, right? So in case of update, if you write update DML, so it will create a recursive situation. So your code will run again and again. So now I'm going to show you the proof. So I'm just saving both account trigger handler and account trigger, right? Now I'm just moving to the UI, clicking on accounts. Now here I'm going to open this account record, and here you can see we have not checked any condition. Like if you update any field, your account description will be updated and you will see an error message. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to update the rating and I'm clicking on save. So here you can see this is an error message. So just read this error message carefully. It says account trigger execution of after update caused by system.dml exception update failed. And why it is failed? Because maximum trigger depth exceeded. So it is calling after update again and again. You can see because we updated it from the UI, then in the trigger itself we are updating the record. Then on that update, it is again calling the trigger. So this is happening again and again, right? So this is basically a recursion situation. If you try to update your record from the UI and you update your record from the code as well, so that actually creates a recursive trigger, right? So what you need to do, if you want to prevent this situation, so we have a solution. If you want to prevent this situation, we have a solution, right? So we need to identify if this method is executed once, and again we are updating this record. So next time this method should not run. So that we need to do. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create new Apex class and naming it as prevent recursion. And inside this class, I'm going to create a static variable, public static boolean, naming it as first call, and I'm initializing it as false. So first call is a variable. Here I just created a variable named as first call, right? So what is happening? This variable is having false initially. Okay. Now what I need to do, I need to go to the trigger, and here I am calling this update account. Okay. So before it, I am just writing if not prevent recursion dot first call. So this prevent recursion is a class and first call is a variable. So here you can see this variable we declared as static. So you all know, like static thing we can access directly with the name of class. So similar to method, we are calling this variable directly. So this is the name of the class, and here is the variable first call. So initially first call is false, and first time we want this if condition to be true, because we are calling this inside if statement now. So initially if it is false, so here we are using not. So what will happen? Not will convert it into true. So first time this method will be executed. But before execution of this method, what you need to do, you just need to set it true. So what does it mean? If you enter in this if statement first time, so your first call variable will become true and this update account method will be called. Now this update account method will be calling this update statement again. So what will happen? This trigger will be reinitiated, but now first call is true. Now first call variable value is true. So this not will convert it into false. What will happen? Not will convert it into false. So second time this if condition will not work. So this is the solution to prevent the recursion. First of all, you need to create a class where you need to create a static Boolean variable initialized as false. And then this way you can just write your if statement, and inside if statement you need to call that method which is causing recursion. Right, so I am just saving this code. So it is being saved, and after saving, what I will do, I will just save that record where we got the error. So this code is saved. Now moving here, and I'm going to refresh the page. So again, I will be updating particular field and you will see there will no error. So if I update rating to hot, so it will be saved. You can see. And if I come here, so you can see description is updated to test recursion. So this time with the help of that class, prevent recursion class, we created this variable and here we applied this code. So this is the workaround so that you can just prevent your recursion. Like recursion won't be implemented if you apply this process. Right? So someone is asking, can we declare Boolean variable in handler class also? So yes, we can. But why we declared it here? So if any other trigger also wants to use this variable, so it is a generic class and any trigger can call this class and use this variable. So that's why I created it separately so that in any other trigger also we can use it. Okay, so I hope this way you understood how we can implement the solution for trigger problem. Right now we have one more scenario. So that is available in front of you. So let me just move my picture a little bit above so that you can read the requirement properly. So just go through the requirement that we are going to implement, and then I will be implementing the solution for you. So we have one more requirement that says when an opportunity is updated to closed won or closed lost, then update description with opportunity is closed won or opportunity is closed lost as per the stage. Right? So here what you need to do, you will be updating your opportunity from the UI. You will be updating your opportunity from UI and you will be updating the stage field. And once stage field is updated, in the trigger, you will be updating the description. So what will happen once your opportunity will be updated from the UI, and again your opportunity will be updated from the trigger. So again, it will cause a recursion, and that recursion problem you can resolve with the help of that static Boolean variable. Yeah, so let me just pick few questions. Those are available. So let me show you here. So Sachin is asking why we were not getting recursion issue. So in earlier situation, we never encountered any scenario where we were updating record from UI as well as we were updating the record from trigger method or trigger handler method as well. What we did, we updated from UI or we inserted in the trigger. So if you update from UI as well as update from trigger as well, right? So in that situation, recursion will happen. Yeah, Sauji, so this is the only situation where you will encounter the recursion. Yes, we don't need any method for prevent recursion class because that is just having a variable. So we are not implementing any business logic. So that's why just variable is required. Yes, Ankit, we can stop. So this prevent recursion is similar to util class. If you want to create it with util name, so that is also possible. Yes, Vinay, we can set that ACC list directly as well to update. But in this example, I showed you like if you want to create new instance, so that is also possible. And in case of after trigger, so one more thing that you need to remember, we are calling this method in after trigger. So in case of after trigger, this ACC list, it is receiving trigger.new. So in case of after update, that trigger.new is read only. You won't be able to update. So if you pass this directly here, like if you use that for update, so it will also throw an error. So you won't be able to use it. So that's why this instance is created and that is being added to the new list. Right? So in case of after update, that trigger.new is basically read only. So you won't be able to update this account list. Right? So Jana, I already told you like if you are updating any record and through trigger also if you are updating the record, in that case like it happens. In insert and delete generally it doesn't happen. Because in update you do it 2 times. In other cases you won't be able to do. So this is the only case where this recursion will be available. Yes, Manan, we can apply that logic, but that logic we apply in the trigger handler, not in the trigger. Because in trigger, we don't implement a loop. Loop we implement in the trigger handler. So inside the loop, we generally implement that. Okay, so now I'm going to implement solution for this next problem. So it says, I'm again reading the question. So whenever opportunity is updated to closed won or closed loss, then we need to update the description. So here, the trigger you will be implementing on opportunity. So here I'm going to check whether we have any trigger on opportunity or not. No, we don't have any trigger on opportunity. So I'm going to create a trigger for you. So first of all, clicking on file, new Apex trigger. So here, opportunity trigger. So creating trigger on opportunity, and here I am writing after update. If trigger dot is update, if trigger dot is after, then we need to call a method. So opportunity trigger handler update description. From here we will be passing trigger.new and trigger.old map. Right now I'm going to create one more class, and this class name will be opportunity trigger handler. Right, so just understand this requirement carefully because it is important. Right, so here I just implemented this, so I think it is very easy for you now because you have implemented lots of triggers. So here I am going to implement the method. So public static void. So method name is update description. And here we need to create list of opportunity. And map of ID comma opportunity old map. So this way this method will be defined, right? And here also I'm saving this code. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to implement this method here so that you can understand the logic, right? So first of all, I'm going to create a list of opportunity. So in this opportunity list, all the updated opportunities will be added. So now I'm going to implement a for loop. So for opportunity OPP, then here I need to write OPP list. So we are iterating on opportunity list. One by one opportunity will be available into this OPP variable, right? Now here I'm going to check if OPP dot stage name not equals to old map dot get OPP dot ID dot stage name, right? And okay, so if it is changed, like if your stage is updated, then again we need to write if condition if OPP dot stage name double equals to closed one, right? If it is closed one, so what you need to do, so before it, I am going to create one instance of opportunity. So opportunity O equals to new opportunity, right? Now here, if this line number 11 condition is true and line number 12 condition is also true, so what I'm going to do, I am writing O. Okay, here we need to store the ID as well. So O dot ID equals to OPP dot ID and O dot description equals to opportunity is closed one, right? Then here I'm writing else if and copying this, pasting it here. If it is closed lost, so again I will be using these two statements, pasting them here. Okay, so now I think you can relate what I did. I just checked whether stage is updated or not. If stage is updated, then I am setting the ID and then I am setting the description. Then I'm checking whether it is closed lost. Again, I am adding ID or description, because either this if condition will run or this else if condition will run. Okay. So this way the code is implemented. Now after completion of this if else, or like this if block, after completion of this if block, what you can do, you can just pick this list, then add opportunity here, right? Opportunity will be added. Then after completion of this loop, you can apply if condition and then check whether it is empty or not. If it is not empty, you can update it. So this way whole code is implemented in front of you. Right, so first of all I created the list, then I iterated on the loop, like I iterated on the OPP list, and then inside this I created one instance, then checked whether stage is updated or not. If yes, then I'm checking stage is closed one, right? If it is closed one, then description will be updated. If it is updated to closed lost, then description will be updated. So this way, like after if we are adding that opportunity into the list and then we are updating it. So what we need to do, first I need to update from the UI, and then this code will run and this code will again update that opportunity. So this will happen again and again, right? So now I'm moving to opportunity and I will show you by updating opportunity. Right, so here I'm going to open this opportunity. If I go to details, so here you can see description is having opportunities open. Description is having opportunities open and opportunity stage is prospecting. Now I'm going to convert it into closed one and clicking on save. So you can see here we have an error. So it is saying id is not specified, line number 20. Let me check, it is showing some different error. Let me just shift it above. I'm going to save it again. Yep, this time we are receiving that recursion error. So what you need to do, you just need to store this outside. There's these if else block, right? So that it become available inside that loop, because if we set it here, this ID we are setting here, so it is becoming local to these blocks, right? So you can just set ID outside the if just after initialization, and here you can see these errors are coming, right? Now what we need to do, we can just reuse this prevent recursion class. So the code which I implemented here, I'm just copying it and I'm going to call it here. Right, so this way, first time this method will be called and second time it won't be called, because first time this first call will be false and through this not it will become true. So when it is false, so this if condition will become true. Then next time it is set as true and this update description will be executed. Then next time when trigger will be called, so this first call is true now and not will convert it into false. So next time this update description method won't be working. So the same prevent recursion class first call variable we are reusing here. That's why I created it separately. Okay, and if I go here and click on save, so it will be saved now. And you can see stage is closed one and description is updated to opportunity is closed one. So this way, with the help of this class prevent recursion, I just showed you how we can prevent the recursion. Right, so I know this is a complex process and you just need to go through the recording once again so that you can understand what I did and implement both the scenarios, discuss it in the Telegram group, and still if you will be having any problem, so I will be jumping in the Telegram group and will be trying to resolve your doubts. And if you have any doubt, you can just post that question in the chat so that I can take it right now. So Saida Reddy is asking, please explain one example of trigger implement without class handler. So I just explained trigger implementation without class handler in the beginning. In the first trigger session, I just did that. So you can just go through and watch that recording. And as per best practice, every time you need to implement trigger with the class handler. So Rituraj is asking, can we use before trigger because it is on the same object? So Rituraj, in before trigger, we don't use DML statement. So that's why I'm using after update for demoing purpose. So Manan is asking why you created a OPP instance. Yeah, so opportunity instance I created because I already told you in after update, this trigger.new that we are passing in this OPP list. So this OPP list is read only. We cannot update it. So we need to create one more list. And in that list, if you want to add any instance, so you just need to create new instance and you can store the ID and then you can store the value and then you can add it. So this is the process. Because if you add anything from this OPP list, so that is read only. So that's why we created the new instance here. So I think Saroj, I already explained this, why we didn't use OPP directly, because it is read only in case of after update. So Naveen, Boolean is true for preventing of recursion. Yes. So if you see here in the trigger, so first time this first call is false. Initially it is false, and first time it will run, and when it starts its execution, so we are setting it true for next time. So next time whenever it is true, so not will be converting it into false, and this method won't be executing. This way it is working. Right, so you actually need to implement all the examples, and then only you will be able to understand this. So Jana, like recursion means when a process is calling again and again, so that is basically recursion. Right, so Praveen, you asked some question, but your question is not clearly asked. So if you can ask again. So Vinay, if you update anything else, it won't be showing you recursion, because in that case, if you update anything else, so in that case, yeah, in that case also it will be working, because here we are adding that instance. Yeah, so it will break. So what you can do, you can shift this statement inside if condition. If it is happening, then only it will be added. So I'm just shifting it here. If you shift your addition of that instance inside the if, then only if you update the stage, then only error will come, otherwise not. Because if stage is not updated, your opportunity, this OPP list to be updated will be blank. And if it is blank, so update won't be working. So one more question is there. For other stages, it will create exception. So it will be throwing error for closed won and closed lost. For other opportunity stage update, it won't break because of that condition. So Archana, if two triggers are checking for recursion, so no trigger will be working at same time. So at one time, any one trigger will be working. Triggers won't work parallelly. And if you encounter this kind of situation, so in that case, you need to create two separate variables. So in this class, prevent recursion, like you can create one more variable, and that variable you can use, like you will be having two variable and you can use them with two different triggers. This way you can use it. So Manan, we are updating this opportunity. So in case of update, that data is already available there. So you can see close date, name, these are already here. We are just updating the stage. We are just updating stage from the UI, and we are updating the description from the code. Other data is already available. So that's why it won't be breaking through close date. So Praveen, actually when we are creating this instance, when we are assigning this ID, so through that ID, we are updating that record. ID is same. This ID we are passing into this o.id, so we are not creating new opportunity. We are updating the existing opportunity whose ID is this opp.id. So that's why we don't need to provide any required field here, because through this ID, we are updating the existing record only. We are not like creating new record. So if you assign existing ID into this newly created instance, it means you are updating the existing record. So Ravi Shankar, if you see the error message, then you can count. I think it is around 16 times. but you can count that error, and that many times it shows the error. You can also see these error messages in the logs. Kishore, cybersecurity instructor is Sumit Jain, and that banner I shared in the Telegram group, and on LinkedIn you can search. So I just have a LinkedIn post as well. So I will be sharing that in the Telegram group, so you can get familiar. So otherwise, on 20 April, instructor will be with me in the live session, and he will be sharing his LinkedIn profile with you so that you can explore. He is having 10 plus years of experience in the field of cybersecurity and ethical hacking. Yes, Manan. If you are assigning ID to any instance, so it means you are passing all the data like that record. You are passing ID, and if you update that same record, so it is updating that existing record. So that instance will be similar to that existing data, existing record. Okay, so I hope this way you understood the recursion process, like how it is there and how you can prevent. Now, moving forward, we have one more scenario that we need to understand, like how we can apply validation through addError method in Apex Trigger. So in deletion, in before deletion, I already showed you like how we can apply validation, but here, like if we create any new record, then at that time also we can apply validation. So there are times like if you need to implement validation rule through code, so how we can do that? So there is a requirement, like if you are creating new opportunity, and at the time of opportunity creation, if amount is null, then we need to throw an error message like please populate amount on opportunity, right? So on opportunity, I will be implementing a trigger, and through that trigger I will be calling a method, and that method will be validating, like it is kind of a validation rule through code, in simple words, right? So right now I'm checking the amount field only, and will be throwing this error message. So jumping here, and here you can see I already implemented this trigger on opportunity. So here writing before insert event. So method name is validate amount, and it is written inside before insert. So that's why I am just passing trigger.new, right? Method name is validate amount. So now I'm going to implement this method here for you. So this is the method that I'm going to implement. So I'm just saving this block so that I can save the trigger. So trigger is being saved, right? Now what will happen? Here I need to implement the code. So it will be very simple code. So we just need to iterate on OPP list. And here I just need to check inside if OPP dot amount double equals to null. So what I can do, I can write OPP dot addError. So addError is a method which will throw an error message if this condition is true. So here I can write please populate amount on opportunity, right? So this way simply I implemented a custom validation here with the help of code. And now if I create new opportunity and amount is null, so I will see this error message on opportunity creation, right? So coming here, and I'm going to create new opportunity. So at the time of opportunity creation, I'm writing test, then close date is this, stays is prospecting. Now you can see amount is blank. I'm clicking on save. So here you can see it is showing an error message. Please populate amount on opportunity. And this error message is coming because of that custom validation. So through code, I am able to apply this validation. And sometimes in the project, we need to apply validation through code. So this way you need to know like how we can throw an error message through this addError method, right? So it is it is very simple. So we have two ways to apply validation rule. One is through declarative stuff like through validation rule that we implement through point and click, and another is through this trigger. You can also apply validation. Okay, and if you go to my website study Salesforce and if you go to the scenario section here under trigger and test class, you will find lots of scenarios, and here you can see some validation related videos are available. So this is for before delete, before update, before insert, before update. So all these 5 are related to validation. So you can practice these videos. So total 22 scenarios are available here that you can practice. All these scenarios are related to trigger, and here like test classes are also implemented. And I'm planning to create some more videos that I will be adding in the list. So let's see if I get some time. So I will be creating more scenarios because after delete and after undelete scenarios are remaining. So those I will be creating for you. Okay, so this way I hope you understood how we can apply validation in trigger. Now next we have another example which is related to database class and addError method. So I'm going to implement it for you. So addError method we already saw, but if you are implementing insert operation, or like if you are not implementing DML statement like insert, update, upsert, delete. So if you are not implementing them, instead you are doing those DML operations with the help of database class methods. So in that case, you can apply addError method as well, right? So there is a requirement that I'm going to show you. So in DML statement, what happens in case of DML statement? So if I take you to the DML statement, if you don't know the DML statement, so basically this is a DML statement. If you write this update and then list, so this is known as DML statement. If this DML is breaking, if anything is breaking in this DML, so whole process will be rolled back. So for example, if update is having 50 records and if one is failing, so all other 49 will also fail. So what we do, instead of writing DML, we can write database class methods, right? And if database class method we are writing, so if particular record is failing, so that will fail, other record will be like committed to the database. And then after execution of that database class method, we receive a list and we can apply a loop on that list, and the records which are failed on that we can apply addError method, right? So that we can do with the help of this database class and addError method. So here we have a requirement like when an account is created, then create a related opportunity. If there is any error while opportunity insert operation, then throw an error using addError method and insert the list using database class method. So here in this example, I'm not going to use any DML statement. Instead, I will be using database class methods, right? Because in DML statement, if something is failing, so whole process will be rolled back. But in case of database class method, it actually performs partial success and partial failure. Okay, so this I need to implement on account because it says when account is created, we need to create a related opportunity. So whenever account is created, we need to create related opportunity. So here we have a method already implemented. So I'm moving here. So I'm going to search about that method, that is create opportunity. So it is available here. So I'm going to modify this method. So here in this method, you can see this code is written. This loop is available here. So we will be using this loop as is. Now, instead of this DML, instead of DML statement, what I'm going to do, I will be writing database class method, right? In place of this insert OPP list, I will be writing database class method. Okay. So I have few lines of code written with me already. So here I am going to paste that code. Okay, so what is happening here? We are using database.insert. OPP list we are passing as a data list, and here I am passing false. So if you pass false as a parameter, so what will happen? If some records are breaking, so only those will fail, other will pass. And here the result will be stored in this SR list. So on this SR list size, we are iterating the loop. We are checking whether it is successful or not. If it is not successful, so here we are using not, like if its success is false. So what we are doing, we are implementing one more loop here, database.error, ERR, and through this SR list of I, we are getting all the errors. We are adding all the errors together, and after completion of this loop, on that ACC list of I, on that particular index where error is coming, we are adding the errors. So this way, if you want to add error after that insert operation, so this is the process, and this is very much important. So initially, like in previous example, what we did, we implemented addError without DML operation, but here after this insert operation, we are adding the errors. So this is the set code that you can use in your projects if you want to apply addError after insert or like update or delete operation. So this way you can implement the loop, and that error you can throw, right? So what you need to do, like here I am commenting this stage, and stage is required field, but I am not populating it. So whenever I will be creating new account, and on account creation, this trigger will be creating new opportunity, and you can see new opportunity won't be created because here this statement is commented. So through this code, error message will be thrown, right? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create an account record. And you will see an error message. Here you can see. Okay, so it is showing populate rating. Actually, we implemented one trigger where rating should be available. Okay, no. It is basically for industry, not for rating. Rating I am again setting as none. It is for industry. So industry I am selecting. So if you remember, we implemented a method update rating basis on the industry. So if it is null, then it is throwing an error. So I'm just clicking on save. Again, it is throwing an error, line number 74 before insert. Okay, let me just check this error. Okay, here actually we didn't apply that condition, ACC industry not equals to null. So if we don't apply that, it is actually throwing the error. So that's why null check is important. So if that error is coming, you need to fix the code. So I just updated this code, and here I'm going to run it again. Okay, so it is throwing some error. So let me just comment it out. Because I just need to check why it is breaking. So I just commented this insert one because it is running right now. And here I'm just clicking on save. Okay, it is asking please populate amount on opportunity. So that validation is working. So what we need to do in this code, we just need to populate the amount as well. So here I'm writing OPP dot amount. So this value, I'm just saving it. So right now stage is blank. So let's see what happens now. Yeah, so here you can see it is showing required fields are missing, stage name. So this error is actually coming through that code which we implemented here. Right, so this way one by one each error is checking, and if you resolve your issues then your code will be working fine. Right, so if you have any issue, so you can just handle that with the help of this process after DML operation. So instead of writing DML, what you can do, you can just use database class methods, and then you can implement the error messages. Okay, so I hope you understood this process, like how we can use addError inside this process just after database.insert method. Moving forward, then we have Trigger.isExecuting. So sometimes what happens, you implement a code and that code is basically called through trigger, as well as it is called through any other process as well. So how we can check whether that code is called through trigger or not? So we have this Trigger.isExecuting context variable, right? So now I'm going to show you how we can implement this. So in this account trigger handler, I'm just writing a code. So public boolean handle account. Here I am writing list of account. Okay, no, here we can't use it. So let me just implement it in the trigger itself. Account trigger handler. So let me just write the code and then I will be doing some changes. So Trigger.isExecuting. So this way I'm just writing the code, and if your code is executing through trigger, so here you can write some code, otherwise you can write the code in else. Okay, so here do whatever you want to do as part of the trigger invocation, and here right, so if your code is called through trigger, then you can write it, otherwise else part will be executed. Let me see the error. Okay, it is showing error for boolean. So here what I can do, I can just write return Trigger.isExecuting. Okay, now if this method is called through trigger, then this if block will be executed. If it is called through any other process, then it will be. So let me just write it here. Okay, so basically what I did, I implemented this method where trigger.new will be passed, then we are just checking trigger.isExecuting. If it is called through trigger, then this if part will be executed. If it is called through without trigger, then this part will be executed. Okay, so now I'm going to call it through trigger. So here I am writing it. So name is handle account. Okay, it is returning a value as well, so boolean b. So actually what is happening, this method is returning this boolean variable, so you just need to store it somewhere. Okay, so we need to create it as static. So actually it is non-static, that's why this error is coming. Now it is resolved. So you just need to create your method as static, then only it can be called here. So now it is error free. So if I save it, so it will be called. Okay, and result we need to check in the logs. So I will be creating account. Okay, before that, what I'm going to do, here I am going to uncomment this, so that account will be created and opportunity will be created. So I'm going to hit save. So account is created and opportunity is created. Now I'm just moving to the logs and going to open it. Okay, here we don't have any message. Moving forward, opening another one, debug only, no message. Going to open another one, debug only. Yeah, here you can see trigger is executing and result is true through line number 7. If I go here at line number 7, so yeah, so this is executing. So actually right now this method is called through trigger, so that's why this is executing. Line number 10 is not executing. Now you might be wondering how this line number 10 will be executed. So from here, if you call, so here you can see we have this account list. Now what I need to do, account trigger handler dot handle account, and here I can pass ACC list, and it is actually returning a boolean. So boolean b equals to, right? So if I run this code, logs will be opened. And here you can see it is showing without trigger. So this way, I hope you understood, if your code, if your method is called through trigger and through without trigger, and you just want to have different code. So in that case, this way you can just implement trigger.isExecuting. So one piece will be executed if your code is called through trigger, and another piece will be executed if your code is called through without trigger. Right, so I hope this way you understood how this trigger.isExecuting is working. Okay, so, and I think for many of you it is new, right? So okay, people are saying account spelling mistake. No, it is not a mistake, it is actually uppercase lowercase. So if you, like you all know, it is case insensitive, so if you write it in capital, then also it will work fine. So Revati, in real time we prefer DML, but if you have any doubt, like if DML will be breaking, still you want to commit the records which are successful, so in that case you prefer database class. So it depends on the scenario which you are implementing. Right, next is trigger and order of execution. So this I already explained to you. So one more time, I'm going to I want to bring your focus onto this document. So it is basically trigger and order of execution. So whenever you insert, update or upsert any statement, any record, so all these statements are executed step by step. right? So here you can see at line number 4, all before triggers are executed, then record is saved to the database, then all after trigger executed, then assignment rule, auto response rule, workflow rule, escalation rule, other processes, record trigger flows, entitlement rules, and here your all DML statements operations will be committed to the database, right? So this is very much important. So I'm just sharing this link in the chat so that you can go through with this document. I already used this document in previous sessions as well. So it is important if you are working with a trigger or anything, like if you are implementing any automation tool, you need to know about this order of execution. So it is not specific to trigger, it is specific to all other things as well. So trigger is a part and other things are also available here. So you can just go and explore this document. Okay, so this is it I planned for today's session. So I hope you got lots of information after attending this session, and share this channel link with people so that they can follow 2 bootcamps simultaneously. So Salesforce bootcamp will go on in the way it is going on. Maybe from next week I will do little bit time change. So I will be doing this session like 1 hour early. So right now time is 8:30 p.m. IST, but from next week it will be from 7:30 p.m. IST, right? Because from 9 p.m. IST we'll be having cybersecurity bootcamp. So this will be a little bit change for the Salesforce bootcamp. Rest all other things will be same, right? And I already shared the session trackers with you. So we have 2 session tracker now, one for Salesforce, one for cybersecurity. So whatever you are following, you can go through and you will have all the information, right? I can see few more questions. So Sachin, in real time scenarios, like if you have a method which you are calling through trigger as well as through any other process that is not a trigger. So in the same method, you can have if else, and if trigger.isExecuting is true, it means it is called through trigger. If it is false, it means it is called through any other process. So this way you can use that in the real time process. Vinay, we won't be able to set the error message in the catch block. It is very difficult because we won't be able to iterate a loop there. So actually we are applying these error messages for particular records which failed. That can be done through database class only because it returns a list. In try catch block you cannot do that thing. Okay, so if you have any more question, please ask. Otherwise, I am going to end this session, and tomorrow also we will be understanding few more examples. And on Wednesday, I will be explaining about Apex and Trigger best practices. So Ankur Trivedi, Apex testing sessions we will be doing next week. Soji, like agile methodology means if you are doing lots of processes together, like few developers are doing development in a week, and next week they are handling over all their development to the QA. QA is like testing the requirements in the next week. In the next week, developments are also building new requirements. So if business analyst, developer, QA, architect, they are doing different processes simultaneously and handling over, like they are transferring their work done to the next phase. So that is basically agile methodology. So the benefit of agile methodology is like if you encounter any issue, so immediately you can roll back the process. So in waterfall model, what used to happen? So in waterfall model, once all the development gets completed, we used to go to testing phase. But here in agile methodology, we work in sprint form. We divide the whole implementation into small chunks, like 2 to 3 weeks implementations. So development, testing, all happens together. Okay, Praveen is asking about wrapper class. So I think it is not part of our tracker. So I will have something around that as well. Yeah, Praveen, I just noted down your query. Will include that. Vamshi, this cybersecurity bootcamp session tracker is along with this Salesforce bootcamp tracker. You can see there are two tabs. So it is in the same sheet. I don't need to share anything. You can just refresh and you will have updated one. Yes, when a backtracking is easy in Agile because you don't implement whole thing and then go to next step. Things are working together. So Saurav, I would prefer my this bootcamp. So in bootcamp, I explain each and everything from the beginning because I don't think anyone will be explaining in such a way. So I just explain everything, keeping in mind like you are a beginner. So if you are not able to understand, then I don't know any other resources because for beginner there were no resource available in simple way. That's why I am doing this boot camp so that it can benefit beginners a lot. Okay guys, so I don't see much questions. So I think today's session is very fruitful and you learned a lot. Do practice all the scenarios because all the scenarios are different and very important. So implement the code by watching the recording and understand and discuss the things in the Telegram group and try to learn in the well way. And tomorrow I will be completing all the small topics related to Apex and Trigger. And day after tomorrow we will be having the best practice session. So this week all these topics will be completed and next week we'll be having fresh Apex test class topics. Okay, thank you so much for attending this session. See you tomorrow, same time. So Sunil is asking about cybersecurity timing. So I will update timings in the Telegram groups, right? So don't worry about that. Thank you everybody. See you tomorrow.